Golf Central on YouTube, brought to you by Apex Irons from Callaway.
We bring you this Golf Central update as we are proud and happy to be welcoming golf back to Austin Country Club this year. The WGC-Dell Technologies Match play was cancelled in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but we're back and back in a big way. It's been fun to watch the match play format so far this week. 2 days of pool play completed so far. So let's recap what has happened. Cara Banks alongside Brandel Chambly and Mark Rolfing. I guess I have to ask what your biggest surprise has been so far.
Biggest surprise? Gosh, I'd have to say Ian Poulter. You laugh at Ian Poulter. He's 45 years old, for crying out loud.
He has the second best match play win rate of anyone in this field.
At some point, it's got to end. He's 45 years old. He hasn't been playing that great. And he had a tremendous upset today. A tremendous upset.
No, he didn't. Rolf, back me up here. It was not an upset for Poulter to beat Cameron Smith. It was a gritty, good match.
She's just not giving it to me.
Yeah, it was a good match. Randall said, you know, how many times has he made putts to keep the match going? Well, I saw him make 5 of them one Saturday afternoon.
That was a decade ago. It was a decade. He was a young man.
I'll tell you what my biggest surprise was. Justin Thomas, Players Champion. Wow, I expected him to come in and show a little bit more than he did. He had a little bit of fight at the end of the day today, but still 0-2. Oof.
You're right, the number 2 seed entering this week. So let's look at the groups in a bit more detail. There are 16 in total, so we will start with the top 4. And amazingly, just one match tied today. And Rolf, this was the one that you picked, and it didn't disappoint. World number 1 against the debutant in Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, Bobby took number 1 player in the world to the brink, and the number 1 player in the world showed him why he's the number 1 player in the world.
And right there, group number 2, a big part of the reason why Justin Thomas isn't going into the round of 16 is because he happened to be in a group of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, for crying out loud. Everybody in there is a rocket star, just amazing match play player, and nobody better than Kisner, of course, now winning 8 matches in a row.
Yeah, I mentioned Poulter has the second best match play win rate. Kisner actually has the first of everyone in this field. Also worth pointing out, Rahm and Palmer will go head-to-head tomorrow, both 2-0 so far in their group. The winner of their duel tomorrow will advance. Let's move ahead to the next group of matches. Guys, what grabs your attention here?
Well, Bryson DeChambeau, in spite of hitting some of the weirdest-looking shots in the first couple of rounds, one of them that only went 46 yards today, managed to get through with a victory. And Fleetwood, who didn't play particularly well in round number 1, ended the sort of Cinderella story of Antoine Rosner, who had a terrific day round number 1, or match number 1.
One of the best performances of the day, I think, goes to Lee Westwood. Matt Wallace was the favorite in that match. Westwood had looked a little tired to me yesterday and came out and just pummeled him today.
Yeah, Garcia, though, obviously with the advantage. He's got 2 victories so far. I know, Brandel, you're looking forward to the matchup of Schauffele and Scheffler in day 3 tomorrow.
From a diction standpoint, from a tongue twister standpoint.
Oh, you mean Scotty against Xander?
Oh, you know them on first name basis. See, I think that's cheating.
Whether I do or don't, that's what I'm going to use.
Scheffler and Schauffele. It's going to be tough.
Good advice from Rolf. First names only tomorrow, perhaps, to avoid that tongue twister. Groups 9 through 12.
Patrick Cantlay is playing better than anybody else in this field. If it were a medal play event, he'd probably have a 3-shot lead over Brian Harman, who he faced in the first round. Brian Harman shot 7 under par. That was not good enough to beat Cantlay. 6 under par in 5 under par in round number 2, or match number 2, was good enough to beat Matsuyama. But Cantlay is going to be tough to beat if he keeps playing like that through these matches.
I did not see this coming from Dylan Fratelli. Really had shown not much sign. I guess played okay at the Players. Had a good Masters back in November, but he must have smelled some of that brisket on the highway back up to Austin when he was driving from Florida and got revved up.
Well, it is his adopted hometown, and not only does he live there, he went to UT. He also had a good performance in the NCAAs.
You're absolutely right. And another huge surprise. You see it right down there, Poulter. I mean, just you know, an aged man playing like a kid.
We're going to move on from Poulter and check in with groups 13 through 16.
Yeah, what has happened to Victor Hovland? Fietsberger, not a lot of form coming in. He smoked him today, but Hovland, that is Not a good 0-2-0 there.
You know, to pick up on that point, Rolf, I think a lot of people were interested to watch Hovland in this format today because he's expected to make his debut in the Ryder Cup in September. This will be disappointing for Padraig Harrington. So we'll see what happens with him tomorrow, even though he can't advance. Fitzpatrick, by the way, bounced back from a loss to Spieth yesterday with a win over Connors today. And it was quite the duel between Wolff and Spieth, the two youngest winners on the PGA Tour since World War II. So that was a quick recap. You mentioned Kevin Kisner when we saw what he'd done today and just how good his streak has been.
Yeah, he's the defending champion. Obviously, he didn't play in 2020. He did lose his first-round match in 2019. But, of course, with this round-robin format, you're allowed to sort of keep on going. And if you keep on winning, well, usually that's enough to get it done. And he has kept on winning. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at his 8-win streak, you can see that, well, some of these have been white-knuckle rides. 5 of them have gone to the 17th hole. And after his round, he was asked about his sort of prolific win streak. And he said, it's probably been a bit of luck. Okay, maybe so. A lot of talent. Playing in the South, that's certainly a favorite of his. Playing on Bermuda, that's a favorite of his. Tight fairways and big penalties if you miss fairways for a straight hitting player, and making lots of clutch putts and match play is enough to break the hearts of his opponents. But if you ask who has the longest streak, well, he's going to have to go a bit to catch this man right here. Answer any question about records with Tiger Woods, and you're likely to come pretty close to getting it right. But Tiger Woods, conversely to Kevin Kisner, wasn't getting to the 17th hole that often. As a matter of fact, he had some blowout wins. In addition to these blowout wins of his 13 wins in a row, remember he beat Stewart Cink in 2008 final, 8-7, and en route to 2006, playing well there, he beat Stephen Ames 9-8. So Tiger Woods getting it done in a little different way. But if Kevin Kisner wins all the way out, he'll be right there neck and neck with Tiger Woods with this streak.
Are you backing him then for a repeat victory?
I tell you, he's got, a tough match tomorrow, obviously, in Matt Kuchar. But I know you like Kuchar.
Well, I do. We've talked about the Ryder Cup a lot this week, mostly with the Euros, because there's a lot of guys fighting for their Ryder Cup life. Nobody wants to be on the U.S. team more than Matt Kuchar. And he is way on the outside right now looking in, like not even being on the radar, I wouldn't think. But just think of what a win in this tournament would do. So I hate to tell you, Brandel, that all this talk about Kisner's streak is going to end tomorrow.
You know who also wants to be on that Ryder Cup team really, really bad is Kevin Kisner.
Yeah, that's
he's going to want to be on that team just as bad. And there's so much more at stake than just this match, obviously. And a lot of that does loom later on this year at Whistling Straits. And Kevin Kisner, who has, I guess, been a consideration for a pick a few times, would go a long way towards getting closer to the list. But since Steve Stricker has 6 picks, inevitably he's going to have to go down a bit. And Kevin Kisner could go a long way towards being that pick if he were to be able to beat Kuchar.
Yes, 6 compared to Padraig's 3, but we'll wait a few more months until we really delve into the Ryder Cup conversation. It's worth pointing out, though, it seems strange now, thinking about the fact that Kis didn't make Jim Furyk's Ryder Cup team in Paris, but actually that was in 2018, and it was the year later that he came through and won this match play championship.
Keep in mind, too, though, that 6 picks is so strange. I see Stricker going down the points list for at least a couple more after the 6 qualifiers before he starts then sort of cherry picking.
Do you really?
I do.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that's an easy thing to do, but that's not why you navigate for 6 picks.
Especially if the players that are there now are still there.
Boys, we'll save this conversation for September. Tomorrow, it's the 3rd day of the WGC-Dell Technologies Match Play.